Okay, well, good evening, everybody. It's Jeremy Medeiros and JP Rouge behind the camera. We're out on Nonsuch Island. We've just been measuring all of the cahal chicks, all 13 of them that's out here in the islands. What we're also doing, it's an exciting time because the white-tailed tropic bird, or longtail, as they're universally known in Bermuda, has been returned for some time. We have our longtail cam nest here with a bird that the two birds have been incubating the egg for over a month now. They came back extremely early this year. Normally they don't lay their egg until around about this time, but these guys laid their egg way back in mid-March, which is highly unusual. So what I'm going to do is what I do at the beginning of every year while the birds are incubating. I'm going to pull the incubating adult out, and I'm going to look at its band number to see if it's the same bird as last year. I'm going to measure its weight. I'm going to look at its wing chord, its tarsus or lower leg length, and its bill length, and that helps us to sex it. We'll know which bird it is then. These birds are very different from cahals. They're highly aggressive. They're loud. They can and do draw blood regularly. This bird is usually a little bit better than most. The last one is what we call a screaming Mimi, who just shrieks like a stuck pig from the time you pull it out until the time you put it back. This bird in the past has been a bit calmer, but it may well do that. And you shouldn't be alarmed if it does, because this is just a normal thing. They're a much more high-spirited and aggressive bird than the cahal. Cahal is very laid back. It's very Bermudian in that respect. But we'll take it out. And the only way I can really get them out is to try and grip the end of the bill when it tries to bite my fingers. And then I can grip it and draw it gently out. So, all right, here we go. Here we go. Okay. Almost got away. And so this is pretty normal. This is what they generally do. And you can see it's just a very different type of seabird than the cahal. Very long, spear-like bill. They're actually related to gannets and things like that, gannets and boobies and frigate birds. And very large, dark eyes, beautiful seabird, white. Yep, there goes lunch and everything. That's very typical. This one doesn't have long tail streamers. It's obviously shedded already, or perhaps it's broken off while it's been incubating for a month. They normally only use those for courtship. So without further ado, I'm going to take them up to be measured, because I try and minimize the amount of stress to these birds. You can see it's a bit more stressful both for me and for the bird. There we go. The bags also take a beating, and they're often ripped to shreds after I do a half a dozen or so of these. And you can see he's already got me, skinned my knuckles quite nicely while I was pulling them out. All right, so let's quiet it down once they're in the bag. Quite heavy, a little bit bigger than a cahal, a little bit heavier usually. 450 exactly, so minus the weight of the bag. That's 430. Let's see. Yeah, 430. That's 423 actually. So let's see, 423 grams. Yeah, let's quiet it down a little bit. Usually this bird, this pair is quite calm. Yeah, see, one of the tail streamers has broken right off. That's from being confined in the nest, and the end of this one is. And you can still see it has a little bit of this lovely salmon color. The last bird I took out from the nest right below our longtail cam nest, the whole bird was washed with this beautiful apricot color. And that's because at certain times of the year, they feed on a lot of krill-like crustaceans, and they get the pigment from that. So I'm going to, just like the cahals, I'm going to do the wing cord next, trying to avoid. You can see the bill has come right through the bag. As I said, these guys have beaks like a can opener, and that's why in a fight between the two, if a longtail finds a Cahal nest that doesn't have an entrance baffle in place and invades, it will almost always win out and could seriously injure or even kill a Cahal. So let's see, 286, so it's a bit bigger. The wingspan's similar, it's just the body is bigger on a, they're just more heavier built, and they're built to fight basically. So 286. And then number 3 is I'm going to turn it upside down and measure the tarsus. Oh, now this bird, this actually has an injured foot. You can see it's got where the webbing has been split, and that's most likely in a fight. Nothing minor, it's much less than our Cahal Cam 1 female bird, but and have much shorter legs than a Cahal. Let's see, 28.2 millimeters. Cahal is about 38 or so. 28.2. Now look at the other leg and get the band number, and this will tell me if it's the same bird. It is banded. Yeah, C1395. C1395. I think this is actually the female bird. C1395. I will have to check, because I think the male is something like C1506 or 1505. I might be wrong there, but I will check. Now the final thing is to try and get the bill under control. This is always fun, because if it can, it will clamp down, and they have serrated edges, so they grab you and then shake their head, and they can literally saw, give you like the world's worst paper cut right down to the bone sometimes. You can see how it's serrated in the edge, and that's so it can grip squid and flying fish more securely. And you can see this quite lethal bill they have. It really is built for fighting. When these guys fight over nests between themselves, they sometimes fight to the death. If one gets another one in a headlock, I've known them to literally saw the head of another tropic bird right off. It's quite bad actually when you see this happen. We often separate birds that are locked in combat for hours. Actually, no, I think this is the male, 52.3, so that's quite a long bill. A Cahal's is only about 28 to 32 millimeters. This is like 52 millimeters. See, and you can see on its upper side, this lovely salmon wash that it has. You know, some birds are almost completely salmon. So I'm just going to put this down. 52.3 millimeters. Okay, so with that, I think I'm just going to put this bird back. I'll just do a visual check of the egg to see what it looks like. My bag has been mortally wounded, I think, but it's got quite a nice hole or two in it. Oh, it's got a newly hatched chick. A chick that's now I know why it's so ferocious. Inside there is a chick that's still wet. It looks like it's hatched in the last couple of hours there. So this was literally like the last chance to get the adult in hand, and it now I know exactly why the bird was so ferocious. Normally this is a quite calm bird, peaceful bird, but obviously it's extremely protective of the chick at this point. I'm just letting it calm down, but you can see the little tiny wet. Literally that chick is not much more than maybe half an hour or an hour old, and that actually explains a lot. So we'll get the parent in there as quickly as possible to keep it warm until it dries out and fluffs up, just like the Cahal chicks do. They tend to have much, if their down is much less thick than the Cahal chicks. So they do need to be brooded for the first week or so by the adults. So I'm going to just let the adult Okay, well, that's fantastic. A complete surprise. That's probably one of the earliest hatchings of a white-tailed tropic bird in Bermuda that I've seen in 22 years of doing this, more or less. It's highly unusual for them to, to hatch before about the last few days, last couple of days of April. So that was a bit unexpected, but it's a great Earth Week present, really. That's the first confirmed hatched tropic bird chick on all of the Castle Harbour Islands, certainly on Nonsuch. So, the parent will stay with that chick for most of the next, several days and feed it. And as soon as the parents start going out to sea to get food for it, squid and flying fish mainly, I'll be starting to weigh and measure it, and then we'll monitor that just like the other ones. So fantastic. It's been a great day out of Nonsuch, tiring and long, but very rewarding. Everybody have the rest of Earth Week and such. Remember, every day should be Earth Day for us and everything. The Earth is, remember, our mother, and we are dependent on it for survival, so we need to really take good care of it. Everybody have a great day, and JP and Jeremy Medeiros signing out from Nonsuch Island, Bermuda. Everybody have a great one.